Great. Did you enjoy the?
You liked it?
I'm not sure there's no it's working. There it is.
Listen, I'm going to ask a couple questions. I'm going to turn it over to you guys. You can ask stuff. Tell me just a little bit about how, because you're both former professional
First, we
athletes.
promise we won't rap again.
That's right. Yeah. I made him sign a waiver, just in case anyone's ears were damaged by that earlier. You both professional athletes. Tell me about the discipline that you had while you were doing that. That's transferred into your career now as an actor and performer.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of crossover as an athlete. I mean, first of all, being coachable. You know,
I squeezed
too
it so
close to the
hard.
electronics.
Take him
What
out.
the hell? I think there's a ton of crossover. First of all, being coachable. In athletics, you have to be. There's no other time in my life when I have been more in the moment than when I'm standing in a cage looking at a cat that wants to kick me in the head. And that's what acting is, being in the moment. You have to listen to your cues, know your fellow actors, be coachable, know your lines, be prepared, have discipline to show up, ready to go. And I think all those things for me came from athletics.
I know for me, it was like, when I was a rookie in the NFL, they take you into the locker room and you go, oh, this is pretty, And then they put your equipment all on and it's shiny, look at that shiny helmet. And then you go out on the field, ooh, the grass is so green and pretty. And then you see the legend that's playing, that quarterback, that super linebacker, that running back that's a star and who's been a star for like 5-6 years. And you're like, wow, that's him. Oh my God, I got his jersey at home. And then they blow that whistle and you got to hit him in the mouth. Right now. And that is what this was. Because you're walking around, you're like, that's Arnold. That's Sly. You're like a moth to a flame. Like, oh. But the thing is, you realize, wait a minute, they brought you here to bring the heat. To bring it. And Sly would tell us, he was like, hey man, this is your moment. This is your time. You take it. And I was like, whoa, all right, you ain't got to tell me twice. You know what I mean? And you realize, to be successful,
You had to tell me twice.
to be successful is one thing where you will never perform past your own self-image, and you have to see yourself like those guys. You have to see yourself as big as those guys in order to even be around them. That is really good. And it's not about who's more important and who's it, but when you know your purpose. You know why you were hired. You understand why you're there. It all made sense. You could just flow right in there. You could just flow just in the biggest movie in the world. I'm from Flint, Michigan. I'm just a fan as much as anybody else. But it allowed me to go right into that mode. And that's one thing that sports prepared me. And
Randy, you told me earlier today that there were no egos on set, and that kind of filtered down and made you realize that you had to behave a certain way as well.
Well, absolutely. It's been fun and interesting. I've been acting now for about 7 years. This is my 17th motion picture. So I've been doing this for a while. And it always kind of trips me out when you kind of come onto set and you get PAs and people rolling up to you and saying, oh, can I get you anything? Here's your seat. Can I get you a coffee? I'm like, dude, the coffee's right there. And it makes you wonder, who have you been dealing with that put you in that frame of mind that you thought you had to wait on me hand and foot? And so you think rolling into a set with a bunch of the baddest son of bitches ever, the icons in action sports or action genre films, that there would be a bunch of egos and, Bruce Willis didn't show up till 12 o'clock and call time was at 6. And, we've been all waiting around for him to show up because we can't really start without him. But the opposite was true. These cats showed up ahead of time and kind of, I think for us younger guys that are learning, they set the stage. They're workhorses. You quickly understand why they've had a 30-year career in this, because they are workhorses. They show up ready to go. They are professionals. There is no bullshit. There's no drama. They don't care. Coffee's black. They don't give a rip. They're there to do their job and to make it something special. And that's what it was really cool about it.
And it was for you.
Really
I'll tell you, of the new cast members, it blew my mind. Chuck Norris in this thing, because it's an extended cameo, right? He comes back a little bit, but that first scene, we can talk about it because you've all seen it. That first scene that he has when he's talking to the snake, and the snake is maybe one of the greatest things I've seen on film in a very long time. Tell me a little bit about, specifically kind of working with Chuck Norris and Sly Stallone. Because I know, like, in that last big action scene that takes about 15 minutes in the airport, it took weeks to shoot. You actually knocked somebody out during the shooting. So just round of applause for that.
He's not clapping.
It was an accident! I didn't mean to do it.
Yeah, you kicked him 6 times, is what I heard.
You saw that the guy, he comes at me with a pistol, I take him, bring him around, throw him over my back, and he flies up and lands on his head. Well, yeah, he landed on his head. He wasn't really supposed to land on his head, he was supposed to land on his back, but he kind of got hung up on the shelving unit that I threw him against, his boots, and so he kind of stretched out, and instead of landing on his back, he landed on his head. And to credit the stunt guys that we worked with, they were remarkable guys. And it seemed like the higher you threw them and the harder they landed, the bigger the smile was when they came up. I mean, they were that crazy. And this guy was so worried that he ruined the scene because he got knocked out. It's like, you were supposed to be dead. You look dead.
That's what you
I'm
told
pretty
me
sure
today.
that's the take they're going to use. And of the 6
That's
we
what you
did.
told me today. You were like, you do the thing, the guy lands on his head, and you're like, he's dead.
Yeah.
For that moment, you thought,
Yeah,
maybe
it was,
this isn't so good.
It's a granite floor. I mean, he landed on his head on a granite floor.
The coffee boy?
What's that?
There's a coffee boy?
No, he was a judo guy, a Bulgarian stunt guy and a judo guy. I mean, he was a combative sports athlete. He'd been around, and I mean, he ate it up. He loved it.
So tell me a little bit about working with, like, Chuck in those big scenes, in the huge scenes with, the working with the stunt guys are one thing, but then you've got Stallone and these guys working these scenes. Tell me just a little bit about that.
Well, I mean, Chuck, first of all, this man fought Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Into his dragon. I mean, they were like, oh man, throwback 80s action. No, that's 70s action. Okay, we talking way back. You can't throw back that far. And look how good he looked. Look how amazing he was. And he was so cool with everybody on the set. I mean, you realize this man is, the business is about longevity. And you see how there's so many people who are stars or whatever, and they just fall away for whatever reason. The reason that Chuck Norris jokes work is because he's still here. And he's still at it, and he's still wonderful. And I thought this was what a great piece to bring him back. And I also want to talk about a little bit of what happened, the acrimony between Jean-Claude Van Damme and Sylvester Stallone, which was in the last movie. He had, Sly asked Jean-Claude to be a part, and he was like, there's no story, there's no story, this is ridiculous.
Should have said Bob.
And Sly's like, well, fuck you too. And it started a war of words, for real. It was like, you kiss my ass, you kiss my ass. And it was like, yeah, little movie Expendables, whatever. And now, and then Sly is so smart. See, this is what's so beautiful, is that he realized, wait a minute, who would be the perfect villain? He never lets his own desires or his own little beef or whatever stop what would be the best thing for the movie. When you see that on screen, that shit is real. No, when they're looking at each other like, what? You know what I mean? Like, it's on. And I said, right now you can't bottle it. You can't. Let me tell you, you might have paid a little bit of money. But that stuff is worth hundreds of billions of dollars because Maria, it goes beyond what you can actually quantify. You know what I mean? Jean-Claude Van Damme is a star by all means. And let me tell you, he was great. He understood what it was. He was thankful. And the way that they buried it and moved on and actually became something better is an example for everybody. It's like, wait, man, let's do something together and make this beyond what's something, a fight between you and I could be. And I thought it was a great example.
Do we have a little round of applause there from you? I liked it. You got
I got two questions, one super quick.
You're allowed one.
One, okay, fine. When you guys are working with like these big explosions, these big guns, and obviously around these big action stars, is there ever any moments of fear?
I think they definitely have your full attention. When shit starts blowing up, and you realize, okay, I'm carrying an M4, and there's 20 rounds of blanks in this weapon, but even a blank at this range has the potential to really hurt somebody. And nothing was more poignant in the movie than having one of our stunt guys go down, and actually two of our stunt guys went down, but one of the guys didn't come back. And I think that kind of set the tone. I'm pretty new to movies, and then to hear Sly and some of the other guys say, oh yeah, on this movie this happened, and on that movie that happened, and they've seen that sort of thing before. I was like, really? I mean, that guy died. That's crazy. And you kind of realize, yeah, that's real fire. Those are real explosions. That shit is real, and those cats are jumping around and doing the stuff they do. It kind of puts it all in perspective. And it was a bona fide accident. Nobody was really at fault. Some guys still lost their jobs, but one guy lost his life, and so it kind of puts it all in perspective. It changed the mood for a couple weeks on set, especially with the stunt guys, because that was one of their boys. So it was something.
Was that the long question or the short one?
That was the short one.
Okay, well.
The second time you guys are working together, is there a biggest prankster within the group? Or who would you say is the funniest guy?
Who's the funniest guy? So everyone can hear. Who's the funniest guy in the group?
Sly. No, by all means, let me tell you something. He's the funniest guy. After all the jokes, anytime you laughed in that movie, that was Sly. Sly wrote it.
That's true.
We didn't ad-lib. That was all Sylvester's.
The guy on set telling jokes, Jason Statham. The guy on set telling jokes, Jason Statham.
Yeah, Jason.
But the guy that's funny that made that shit happen on the screen right there, that was Sly. He's a funny guy. He comes up with that stuff on the flyer. Like, you really want me to say that?
He's a great writer. He wrote Rocky, y'all. Remember that?
I tweeted earlier that I was going to be hosting this thing with you and said, do people have questions? Here's a question from Steve Kovacs. Can't wait, but why are they called the Expendables when no one ever dies?
That's not true.
Sly, Dolph came back to life. He died once and came back to life.
Gonna.
All right, go ahead.
Terry, how could you let Schwarzenegger take your gun?
How could you let Schwarzenegger take your gun?
Hey man, Schwarzenegger take anything he wants. He's I got California in the pocket, you little girly boy. No, man, you know what? And believe me, I was a little concerned. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, this is my baby. That age 12 is my baby. It's a character in a freaking movie. You know what I mean? And but when you kind of understood, because it was funny, because even Sly had to write. He was like, come on, C's, you got another one. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like, all right, damn it. But it was. I was so happy to be there with him, because even in the last movie, we weren't with him because he was the governor. He could only film on Sunday, and it was him and Bruce, and they filmed that one scene in one day. We weren't even around, and to have the chance to be all together, I was just ecstatic, man. I was happy.
He wasn't acting. And he said, "Hey, you ain't taking my gun."
No, I'm with that.
Up here?
Yeah, were you going on location like in some foreign countries? Just to start the question.
Well, okay, that might be your entire question. Where did you film? Where did you shoot the film?
Bulgaria for 3 months. We did a week in New Orleans. That's not a foreign country. And then another week in Hong Kong.
You like that Jet Li stuff in the beginning? Yeah. Let me tell you, I was all in Hong Kong with Jet Li's crew.
Wow.
That was incredible. With the frying pan, he was really hitting those cats with real pan. I'm not kidding. I'm not even joking. We were all like, oh my God. I mean, and these guys jumped up with no nets, no nothing. They just start flying around. And I said, this is crazy. That's a whole other thing. Because, in America and even over here, they had all kind of restrictions. They were like, no, you can shoot me, hit me with the pan. It was an unbelievable scene.
All right, go ahead. Does anybody know the kill count, body count?
We couldn't really keep up. I tried to tabulate my own, and I kind of had to quantify it because it's like, no, I had to see that cat die for it to count. and I did it in the first movie, and I got to 26. Like, I saw that dude die, I know I killed him. Not like I shot that cat over there, I'm not sure because I'm over here now. And I got to 29 in the second movie.
And it's probably confusing too because the same stuntmen are probably coming back day after day and getting blown away like multiple times.
I beat Danny up several times.
Do you have questions over here? Yeah, go ahead. I don't want to ignore you.
What was your favorite scene to film for each of you?
What was your favorite scene to film for each of you?
I think it was the same scene for both of us because we've talked about this before, and the pizzeria scene was kind of that scene where all of us kind of got to really expand on our characters and show our flaws, show who we were as people, and him cooking the rigatoni and the coffee. You're like, what the hell's wrong with cereal? That scene was a really cool scene.
Where was that shot? Was that in Bulgaria? Was that
all in Bulgaria? All in Bulgaria. And in fact, it was in an old communist training facility where they had it set up to look like New York. So when they invaded, they would know where to go in New York. The Bulgaria is 20 years out of communism.
That's real because I thought that was just something made for the movie.
All real, all real. It's crazy.
Wow, it looked pretty. It looked like a backline, right? It looked like a backline. Go ahead.
I was reading some things on the net about some of the stars that may be in the third one that might be coming up. Just going to ask you guys, if you had to choose somebody, any of these action heroes that are back in the 80s or 90s, if you had to choose one guy and you wanted for the next film, who would it be?
Okay, so everyone can hear. So I suggested Jesse Ventura earlier. You guys laughed at me. Who do you think? You got time to believe.
Well, right now, the rumor is that they're talking to
Clint Eastwood, Harrison Ford, and Nick Cage.
They got Nick
If they
Cage.
sign Clint Eastwood, I'm gonna go out of my mind. I'll tell you right now.
But they do definitely have Nick for the next one. And, my thing is that they're talking to Clint and Harrison right now. So we'll see. We'll see how good this does.
Yeah. So you got to come back a lot of times over the weekend. Go ahead.
Hey, Coach, fight Seagal in the third one. Fight Seagal.
I have jokingly said I would come out of retirement to fight. All the MMA bullshit and Anderson and Lyoto and all that.
Corner GSP against Silva.
I don't think I'd be satisfied with just cornering against Seagal. If he would sign on the dotted line, honestly, I think I would have to really consider.
Yeah.
How has your view of acting changed from your first movie to this, like where you are now?
How have your views of acting changed from your first movie to your right today?
From the first time I ever started acting? Oh yeah, I mean, I was scared to death. And my first movie was a movie called The Sixth Day with Arnold. And I'll never forget, I was a goon. He was getting cloned. It was all about cloning. And we actually filmed in Vancouver. And I I had to jump up on his steps and ask, I was like, Adam Gibson, come with us. And the first time I ran up there and I faced him, and Arnold turns around and says, "What do you want?" And I couldn't talk. I'm not even kidding you. I couldn't speak. I was like, everything in my head said, "You don't belong here. You're an ex-athlete. You had too many concussions. You don't know what's going on. This is ridiculous. They hired the wrong guy." And then all of a sudden, now this all happened in a matter of 3 seconds. So I couldn't speak, and then something went wrong with the camera. And I'm telling you. And they said, "Oh, sorry, we gotta come back and give you some 5 minutes." I pulled myself to the side. I was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? You wanna go back and do security? You wanna go back?" And I literally yelled and cussed myself out. And I turned around. They were like, "Okay, we're ready, Terry. All right." And they were like, "Action." I was like, "Adam Gibson." I wasn't playing. He was like, "I like this guy. He's emotional and all." And that was the first bout with stage fright, because you realize you're coming from a whole other world. And I was like, but after that, over the years, you're talking about 10 years. Let me tell you what, to do this scene with Arnold again, I changed, and I could face him. There was no fright. I knew that I had built myself up to be the kind of person that could take Arnold in a scene for real without that kind of hesitation and that kind of thing. So when he comes after my gun, it was right there. You know what I mean? It was a magic moment for me. You know?
I heard he was scared of you.
My first movie experience was Cradle to the Grave with Jet Li. And thankfully for me, they put me at home. I'm in a cage, underground fight scene. I'm supposed, first of all, I get to call Jet Li out. "Let's go, chicken shit." I must have said that 25 times. If I call this guy chicken shit one more time, I'm gonna go crazy.
He's gonna hit me with a
So
pan.
he comes up, and his whole pretense in the movie is he keeps his hand in his pocket. He doesn't really want to fight, and I'm all mad dogged up, and you're supposed to hit him with the right hand. Run him over. He doesn't move. He's supposed to slip, with his hand in his pocket, get out of the way, and I throw it right to my cheek, like you're supposed to do, and run him over. And the stunt coordinator and the director are like, "Oh my God, he just ran over the star of the movie." And he's laying on the floor, and I'm going, "Geez, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to run you over." And he's like, "Oh, this guy's wind up, I don't know what the hell I'm doing." He said, "Throw a right hand." I'm throwing a right hand.
That's what Randy Couture does.
He was very humble. He was a great guy. He said, it was a good scene. It ended up working out. We had the fight scene, and Chuck Liddell and Theo Ortiz were in that scene as well. So it was kind of one of those moments. That was my exposure.
I like that. Like you've got Jet Li laying on the floor, twitching on the floor after you hit him, and you're just kind of like this. That's the look you just had. Sorry, man. That happened. The Expendables 2 opens on Friday everywhere, August 17th. Tell your friends, tweet, let everybody know.